Hey everybody, hope you're doing well. Thanks for tuning in again today. Very much appreciated. Let's go ahead and dive right in. I'm going to talk fast and I'm going to move fast because I don't want this to be a long video. And the whole point here is that we want to get really quick at analysis. So that is the goal. I got a really interesting property into my inbox today. I'm on the email list for several wholesalers. This is one that I've worked with. I've actually bought 3 properties from, all varying degrees of quality. With wholesalers, you don't always totally know what you're getting. But anyways, I like working with these guys. Another property came into my inbox. I was like, you know what? Let's do a video. Let's check this thing out. So literally opening this up right now. I have not run analysis on this. So let's dive in. We're gonna do it together, all right? So looks like we got a Chicago property here. Purchase price 390,000. Immediately, like, first thing I go to is like, are we in the 1% territory? And absolutely. So monthly rent, again, if I'm taking face value, $5,000 far surpasses 1%. So we're up at the, I even run the math on that, but we're at the 1.4% or whatever. So it's a pretty cool territory to be in. So just quick sniff test right there. It's like, okay, we might be onto something. Let's go through this. So 6 unit. I love 6 units. I love being over 4 units when I can. Obviously, 6 units is a little bit harder to finance, so that 4 units is usually that sweet spot. Property description: it's pretty building, only one vacancy, soon to be rented. Okay, I do believe them on that because I've worked with them, and if they do have vacancies, they're actually usually trying to rent them out, and they've done that for me too, and they've done some rehab, and they've been really great. So strong performing investment opportunity in Chicago Chatham neighborhood. 3-story brick building, multifamily property, 6 spacious units, 3 2-bed, 3 1-bath, all 1 bathrooms, management needed. Okay. Great. So let's just dig into this. So some of the details. So it's active, obviously, multifamily, the breakdown, blah, blah, blah. That's all good. Okay, siding, roof, flat. I don't love flat roofs, but I own some. So, it's just they build up water and they usually don't last as long. So that's the thing. City water is great. City sewer is great. Boilers, that's like a red flag for me because it could easily be like a crazy old boiler and have to be replaced, and that's going to cost a crap ton. So that would immediately be something I would dig into and look into. They're already letting me know that their pro forma is effectively assuming all units are rented, which makes sense. We're going to go ahead and QC these rents and see if I believe them. But okay, here we go. So keep in mind, so what wholesalers will display information in all different forms, and like this is just these guys' way of displaying the information. Keep in mind, like, this isn't, oh man, if I got this property, I get to like walk away with $2,600 a month. Maybe if you bought it in cash, but if it's not in cash, then you got to pay a mortgage out with that too. But even still, a mortgage on this, we're going to go run the numbers. You might still be making it out like a bandit potentially, assuming it doesn't need too much work. So let's dig into the numbers, shall we? I'm going to head over to my trusty BiggerPockets calculator. We're going to start a new report. There's a lot of different calculators. I like using the BiggerPockets calculator. So we don't have a property address for this thing. So you know what? Actually, that's a really good point. So we're actually only going to be able to get so far because we don't have a property address for this. It's not the end of the world. It's not the end of the world. So we're going to just call this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Chicago. It's not going to be able to pull data for us and all that type of stuff, which is fine. You don't have to technically fill in this information. So we don't have the address. They haven't given it to us. Usually a lot of wholesalers won't give you the address unless you start engaging with them about the property. Obviously they want people like driving by and sniffing around the property and all that type of stuff. So we don't have the address, so we're going to kind of roll without it, but that's okay. The whole point is we want to be able to get a flyer like this, run the analysis, decide if this is even worth our time. If it is worth the time, let's ring up the wholesaler and be like, hey, tell me more about the property. If it's not worth my time, let's get out of here, right? So let's get some information in. So we're at 360, right? Purchase closing costs. I'm going to use my calculator. I usually try and use 5%. So 360 times 0.05. So that's 18,000. That might be high, but let's just kind of roll with it. Why not? I bet you there is going to need to be rehab in this property. Like literally just looking at this, I'm like, okay, so let's also talk about the neighborhood too. So it's in Chatham down here. I looked it up earlier. What little I know about Chicago, this is probably in a C area. I know kind of everything a little bit south is gets into like C and D territory, depending on where you're at. So just that alone tells me that its upkeep could be questionable. It's also a big brick building. Old. It doesn't tell me the year, but old buildings like this often have some sort of settling. Point is, I'm going to expect that there's going to have to be rehab. I'm not going to put it in the report right now. That's something we'll kind of fiddle with later and just keep in mind as we move through the report. But let's go ahead and get into the loan. I'm going to most likely get a 25% down. With a 6 unit like this, it's probably going to be a DSCR loan. Right? So it might get a 20% down. It just depends on what lender you get your hands on in the market. But let's do 25%. A DSCR loan right now on a property like this, assuming you got good, rates and that type of stuff, maybe we're at about that. DSCR loans sometimes can be 1 or 2 points depending on your lender. Let's go a little bit conservative with 2 points, and let's just do the old 30-year. So income. Okay, so let's do some quick validation here. So they're saying 49.50. Let's just validate that. The question is, do we believe that number? Now, if they have people there, which it sounds like they do, paying rent and pulling in that money, then I can't refute that, and that'll be something we eventually ask them is like, do you have leases? Are they actually paying this amount? How much of this is true pro forma? How much of this are you making up? Like, what's the difference between where this is and where they are now today? But let's run some theory. Let's come over to Rentometer. So because I don't have the address for the place, you might think to yourself, oh no, how do I use Rentometer? I don't have the address for the property. Well, we know it's in Chatham. All I did was zoom in and be like, let's just choose Dunkin' Donuts as the address, because all Rentometer needs is just the region, right? So Dunkin' Donuts, I grabbed the address. That's what's in here now. You don't have to put rent in here. We're just going to do 2 bedrooms. Whatever. It's all this does is help you choose the little dial that it spits out with. But we know there's 2 bed and 1 bath. So we got 2 beds. Ooh, 1,100. That is fantastic. So, okay, quickly supporting this. Let's use my little note here. So that's 11. We'll type in the number 1165, right, for 2 beds, and then let's do the 1 beds. Where's the 1 beds at? I'm going really fast here. I mean, you've probably seen some of my other videos. I usually dive into this report and see if I believe that, look at some of the options, kind of see if there's outliers that I should be considering. I did kick out that outlier, which is super great. So it's doing a good job there. I'm not going to dig into it. I'm just going to take it at face value right now because it sounds like they might be getting rents from people. So let's do 850, 1 bed. So let's go ahead and add that up. So if we do 1165 times, they said they had 3 of those, right? So that's 3,495, and then the 850 times 3. So holy mackerel! Oh yeah, that's 50. Add those together, 3,495. So not only, oh my gosh, you guys. Okay, so in theory, if it's got 3 2 beds, 3 1 bath, it could, maybe should, be making $6,000 a month. So what this tells me, again, I dive a lot deeper into this before I roll with this number. You know what I'm saying? That there'd be a lot deeper validation, obviously, through this, and then eventually my usual main second round of approvals of what is rentable is talking to property managers and seeing what they say and what they think these units would rent for. We haven't seen the units. We don't have any pictures. So there's so many questions to be asked and answered around that. But point is, if they think right now today they are pulling 5,000 and Rentometer is basically telling me that combination of units can fetch me 6,000, that makes this way more interesting. Way more, because it's interesting with these numbers, way more interesting with those numbers. So, okay, let's keep rolling with it. So I will always choose the lesser of the rents. Whether I came up with a lesser number or they have a lesser number, I'm going to choose the lesser number because I don't want to get all stoked about a high number, right? So let's use the 49.50. So let's roll with it. Okay, so there's our rents. Now let's get into expenses. So I ended up breaking because look at all they do is give me one line: operating expenses 2,300. That is extremely unhelpful. Like, what in the world is in that? Now, lucky for me, I've worked with them before and I know how they present their reports. So I have another report from another property I purchased from them. Interestingly, roughly about the same. The total expenses are 26 on this, right? And this one's 23. Sorry, 27 when you look at it annually, right? So 28. And then my other property I purchased with them was 27 about. So what I did is I just said, okay, let's just draw the conclusion that they're roughly breaking it down. So they're saying 28. My other property that I got from them that you can see right here in the background, this is how they broke it down. It looks like, because this one's actually a 14 unit. So, but still, nonetheless, it's a multi-unit. Looks like they're covering gas and electric. There's obviously insurance. They factored repairs and maintenance into that. So this total expense number is all up. It's like CapEx, repairs, them paying utilities, taxes, all that type of stuff. That's how they kind of run their reports. So when they run their annual expenses, it's the full kit and caboodle. So what I did is I just said, you know what, let's just kind of, for the sake of quick analysis, let's just roll with these numbers since they're so similar. So I broke out the annuals, in relation to that. Then I just went in and just divided those by 12 and I broke out and got these. So whoop-de-doo. There we go. Now I have some monthlies to roll with. I mean, this is sometimes what we have to do is we just have to draw assumptions and not get stuck and say, crap, I can't run this analysis. Like, you got to make it up. We make up as much as we can based off of what we know to run the analysis. And then at every step we're trying to learn more, and we come back to the analysis and update it with what we've learned more now. So let's say this report does come out favorable. I'm probably going to ring these guys up and be like, dudes, I'm into this property. Can you give me a breakdown of the expenses? I want to run my numbers more accurately. And they'll likely forward me a document. They'll likely ask me for proof of funds first. Be like, are you actually serious? Or are you a tire kicker? But let's put some of these in. So taxes, I'm basically saying 1,600. And by the way, I did a little bit of validating before this. I did go, what are their taxes? 1.77%. I did some quick math. That's actually probably low. Like, that percent gets me to about 4,000. So that might be low. But again, that's not what we're doing here. We're just trying to draw some assumptions. What's more important is that all of our expenses add up to what they say they are. That's what's more important rather than getting deep in the minutia of these things at the moment. So 166 might be low. That's fine, but I'm sure I'm actually high on something else. So insurance, 333. So repairs and maintenance. Let's just roll with the number that I kind of got there. So 666. Oh, that's 666 a month. So, this is percent. Shoot. That's right. Percent. This is percent. Let's actually choose a number that gets me up to 666. Let's just do that. 13. Not close enough. All right. Vacancy, they don't have it factored in here, so let's just leave that out. Normally, when I do these reports, I do 5 or 3, 5, and kind of come through that way. They don't have property management factored in here, so that's a call out. Right? But so capital expenses, we've kind of funneled that in here. We're kind of using repairs as capital expenses, right? So electricity, so we'll use 916. We use this number. Water and sewer, we use the 250 number. HOA, garbage, all that type of stuff. Okay, so I am going to get a property manager. Like, they are kind of presenting these numbers without a property manager. I don't live in Chicago. I'm not going to manage that property. Property manager is usually around 10%. So let's roll with that. So we got a property manager here. So we got all these numbers accounted for. Let's run this report, guys. Let's see what happens. I'm feeling pretty good. Okay. Okay. So not as good as I was thinking it was going to be. Let's see. So, we're getting close to $100 a door. I like to get in the range of between $200 to $300 a door. I'm probably a little bit more ambitious. Don't like that cash and cash return, 5%. I try to stay 10% or higher. Total cash needed. The other thing that worries me about this is on top of the total cash needed, we don't have any rehab in here. So once we learn more about this property and we're like, oh, we got to put another 15 grand into this property, then that's going to totally sabotage our cash on our cash return. So off the cuff with the way these numbers are, I'm gonna go. But that's not where the story ends. We need to then now say, how can we make this property work for us? So a couple things that I would probably go down the road of. We could negotiate that. I think I made that too high. 18,000 is a lot for a 360. So let's do 3%. That's 10,000. So let's do 11,000 just to beef it up. I think I went too high on that. I personally know a DSCR loan person who would probably do this at 20% down. So that would really help our cash and cash return. Maybe not. I got to ring him up and see if that's possible. But if that's the case, I know he charges 2 points. So that's going to have to stick to the same. Now, this is where rent comes in. Now we need to start doing some more serious research on can we lift up that rent? Can we go get that $6,000 number? I'm not going to play with it now because I just played with closing costs, down payment, all that type of stuff. So let's update the analysis, just assuming I call my lender and can finagle an 80% down and also get... what was I gonna say? The 80, sorry, the 20% down. Now the issue with this is, so we got more coming down because we aren't putting as much down, which is good. Why did we go down on cash and cash? That should have raised it. So we went down there, went down there. That should have made that a sweeter situation. But no, I guess, in the end, I guess that makes sense because, that's right, because we're putting more on the loan, it's actually decreasing our monthly cash flow. That's the trade-off. So you might be putting less in now, but it's a heftier loan now, and it's going to decrease that. So really the solution here is doing 20 and 25% down isn't really going to, that helps us because that's less money I got to put into the deal and get into the deal, and then I can refinance and have my fun life with it later. But let's assume that 25%, now let's play... can we increase the rent game? I'm so hesitant to just say, can we get it to 6,000? Because, we got to turn over tenants. There's 6 of them. We're years out from seeing that number. But let's at least go up to a more modest, like 5,500, right? Let's say I can get some of these units up. So 5,500 on the rent. Let's double check expenses. Taxes. I messed up the taxes. So monthly, I put in the annual. So monthly taxes is 166. I also messed up insurance, guys. Oh my gosh, no. Because when I originally did this report, it was annual. Good catch. One of you probably caught that. Okay, so rent is up. Now, rent is up. But still, because I added in the correct insurance and tax, that's down. It still costs a lot of money to get into this property. So you know what? To be completely honest, what I would do with this property, let's recheck the numbers. I would negotiate it down is what I do. Because, I do 2 things. Probably step 1 is I'd probably call these guys and get more information so I can start to firm up these numbers. That went up because we changed the price point. So anyways, I'd probably call them to firm up these numbers and see if I can get these to be actuals, because right now we're just running willy-nilly. I'd do some more market research. At the same time, I'd probably just call 1 or 2 property managers and be like, hey, what do you think about, the price point for these? And then once I validate those numbers, the next step is to see if I can chip them down. Like, what if we can get down to here? What happens? And we can get those rents up. We're getting there. It's not there though. It has hefty expenses. What I'd hope is happening. Okay, so this is the last thing I'll say, and then we'll kind of conclude this. Last thing I'll say is, these are rents that are like rentometers saying you could make $6,000 from this property, we're also shouldering the expenses. In my experience, and with most of my properties, I will back bill these expenses to people. So let's say it is $1,000 a month in fuel electric. Like, let's say we can get to $6,000 a month in rent, right? So let's say it's a $6,000 a month in rent. I validate that. That's possible. Plus, I start back billing these guys for the utilities. Let's say I don't even do water and sewer. I just do this. That's pretty much another $1,000 I'm back billing, right? So now we're doing $7,000 in income, and that's where this gets fantabulous. So now we're talking business. The big question that I'd ask is so now I'm over here being like, this seems super low, based off of what Rentometer is telling me. And then I'd also ask, are you back billing the tenants for utilities? Because it really doesn't look like it based off of the data that I'm seeing and able to surface. So is there an opportunity to back bill them? It doesn't even have to be individually metered for that to happen. You can just do splits. Property managers do this all the time. So taking a step back, I think this is a good property if you can work it down. If you're comfortable with the market, if you find a killer property manager, you can maybe work them down $20,000 maybe. You can get some pictures of the inside of the property and see, that it's in decent shape. That would be super awesome. If a lot of these boxes get checked, the boiler isn't like crazy old and I need to spend 25 grand in the next couple years. Roof's in semi-decent shape. Like, these are all things that if a lot of these boxes get checked, most importantly, the rent and the ability to back bill. Like this entire deal hinges on those things. So if all that checks out, I would be down to clown on this property. So have we struck gold? Potentially. Potentially. More information is needed, but I like it. These are some good numbers. I would talk business. In fact, I might go shoot him a call. So hopefully this was educational. We went through a lot of different stuff in this video. This is a really, really great property to analyze and dig into. So there you go. If you guys like this video, absolutely please like and subscribe. I'm new here, so just trying to have fun, do some education, teach people videos. So please, please, please subscribe because I'm so new and so small. Would very much appreciate it. And I will talk to you next time. Thanks so much.